I'm Debbie Waitkus, and I am a co-founder and chair of the Golf It Forward Foundation, which forwards the legacy of the 13 founders of the LPGA. A typical day for me is different every day, and that is 7 days a week because I wear a foundation hat. So there are always relationships that are popping up or being further developed or just having a good time. But my work tends to be a little bit seasonal. For example, right now it's April, and next week we have the Marilyn Smith Sunday Tea and Scholarship Pro-Am, which is a cornerstone event for our organization. So as you can imagine, the work heats up, the reach outs heat up, and it's pretty joyous. We also just completed the scholarship application review. We send 25 girls to college every year, incoming freshmen, and we just completed interviews. We actually interviewed the top 50 finalists. You know, if it's something to deal with LPGA memorabilia or our Pearl community. Pearls is what we call our scholarship recipients because Marilyn Smith, who was a co-founder and started the scholarship fund, always wore pearls. I think many people know that the 13 founders of the LPGA are no longer living. We lost the last one, Marlene Hagee, a couple of years ago. And sadly, we don't have all of their stories captured for them to have told their stories. So with Golf It Forward, we have just embarked on an ancestry project, getting others who knew them or played with them or related to them, share some stories and tidbits so that we can actually capture that history, so that we who appreciate the opportunity as women to play golf know the roots and whose shoulders we're standing on, who opened the fairways for us. This month, actually next week, we are debuting the first of our ancestry pieces, which is a 6-minute video about Louise Suggs. So something about the golf industry that most people don't realize is that many people who work in the industry don't actually play golf. We're so busy helping to make this game more welcoming or tweaking something to make the sport even better, but not actually out on the fairways themselves. The biggest part of my work that has had impact on the game and the people, boy, that's a loaded question because I've always felt like I wanted to make a difference. And I started in this game, or at least in this industry, as a new golfer who tried to welcome other women into the sport and pull the wool out of their eyes, saying, boy, it's not how well you play, but it's how well you handle yourself. And being in those same shoes, and not having gone through a lot of lessons, the formal training, I wanted to be able to fast track these women. And so programming came from what I knew as a businesswoman that might be welcoming to me. And so I know that I've welcomed a lot of women that way. I've written a book called Get Your Golf On, which has been a wonderful resource for a lot of new and returning golfers and rusty golfers, which has nothing to do with how to swing the club or how to hold the club, but more of all the soft skills around the game that core golfers might not necessarily tell you, and you just wonder why they're looking funny at you. But so that's one aspect, but then also capturing the history of the LPGA and that sense of we've all been told no. And how does that feel? The 13 founders of the LPGA didn't take no for an answer. And in their generation, that was a big deal because you're talking about the 1940s and 1950s. I give kudos to their parents who actually encouraged them to follow their dreams as well. In a time where I'm sure that their friends questioned what they were doing as parents and ostracized them socially. So for all those of us who have been told no, to be able to forward the legacy of those who wouldn't take no for an answer, to me has been very inspiring and I hope helpful to others. It's an interesting story as far as what drew me to the golf industry, and I was dragged out relatively late as far as learning to play golf. I was working and a coworker encouraged me to start playing, and I just thought golf was boring and it wasn't a sport. It was something that I hadn't been invited to previously and I hadn't been exposed to. So I think the power of the invitation is very, very important. And I excelled as an athlete, but not just as an athlete because of athletic ability, but being able to read the field, so to speak, or read the room, and forward relationships in golf, which propelled me in my corporate job. And when it became time to make a change, the person that I worked with to transition me out and what I thought was going to be help me write a resume to go get a job at another company encouraged me to put together a business plan to actually help others experience what I experience and love about the game and how to leverage it for business, especially women. Because of that experience, Golf for Cause, which was and still is my company, although I spend most of my time with Golf It Forward, it was born with the concept that, look, if it didn't work, I could always go get a job. Thankfully, there was a need and people responded and it just sort of took off. Any woman who wants to be part of the golf industry, I would encourage them to think about the why. What is the benefit? Who's the audience? How are you going to make a difference? I believe that reaching out to others who are already in the industry or who have connections with others who are in the industry to be a sounding board and put some ideas together to float them would be a great idea. And reaching out to women who are members of Women in the Golf Industry would be an incredible idea, because we are here to lift up others and help encourage and make introductions and connections. And perhaps there's someone that one of us might know who could help you along your path. Wow, Women in the Golf Industry has been an invaluable experience for me, especially at the very start of when I started my company, because I was very young and very new, especially in the industry, new, and could turn on a dime, right? A lot of larger organizations can't turn on a dime the same way, but I could try something and see if it worked. And if it didn't, put it on the shelf or just say no, put it in the recycle, if you will. But Women in the Golf Industry has so many members from different angles of the industry, and many of them are entrepreneurial and have ideas and of ways that things can work, but also people whom they know, who they can make an introduction. And it seems like, especially from the very beginning, Women in the Golf Industry, it just would open doors and say, you know what, you should speak to Kathy, or you should speak to Jan, or you should speak to Kay because of this, this, and this. And I think as a member, we truly do want to help lift others up and help them be successful. It's not about the competition, if you will, because together all ships rise, and together we can do so much, as Helen Keller would say. And I think your success is our success collectively, and we're here to champion each other. And I truly feel that about Women in the Golf Industry, whether it's with a company, you and your company, or you in your role at your company, because a lot of times in some of the larger organizations, there are ways that some of the women can provide counsel on how to approach certain situations in corporate environments as well. So as an individual, as well as for your organization.
Remember, before clicking off, I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. Remember to like this video, then share it, and also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Women in the Golf Industry.